Hello, what's up guys? This is Jouni Juurila from Floorball Made Simple, and today we're back with another video. We had a small break and vacation from making videos, but now we are assessing Finnish U19 women's teams playing in the World Championships that are right now going on in Lahti, home tournament for Finland. But they lost 9-3 against Sweden, and there are few major things they need to change right away in their gameplay. So you can get plenty of good tips if you are a coach from this video, and also individual tips if you are a player. So let's go. But at first, let's enjoy some typical Swedish stuff. What they're doing in their national teams and what actions they are performing in the field. You can choose totally freely what influences you're going to take from this video series if you're a player or a coach. But typical Swedish stuff.
Markström kääntää oikealle laidalle Lundin. Vetelän liikenne päälle ja nyt sitten jälleen Koiran puolustoon pääsee laukumaan hyvästä paikasta, mutta hyvä saarinen koppi. Täällä puolustolla Enberg pääsee tuon keskustaan haastamaan ja sijoittaa pallon Holmo. Isabel Holmo pelaa loppuun koulumaansa Lundin joukkueessa, kun seuraavaa kutia paukkuu. Koirestovicin kisoissa tästä porukasta oli Liisa Turunen. Tuossa pelissä Turunen teki teon 0+2, kun Lundin kävelee seuraavaksi.
So, in the first example, we see that Team Sweden is doing these in and out movements, which means basically that there is a movement number 1 and a movement number 2. The purpose of the movement number 1 is to be a decoy run that distracts the opposing defenders and grabs the attention and moves the defenders. And the movement number 2 fills that space that gets emptied and then shooting from that.
Jälleen kerran nopeasti se pallo liikenteeseen. Sportboardet nousee itse. Pelaa oikealle laidalle. Nilsson pääsee ja rikkoo. Ja jälleen kerran nopeasti se pallo liikenteeseen. Sitten lähtee peilomasta päädystä liikkeelle, kiertää kyllä Sikon helposti. Tulee Ruotsi jälleen, tulee myöskin viimeistä.
So, moving as a unit, what I mean by that is that Team Sweden is able to move almost simultaneously 5 players at the same time. And at least 3 players are actively collaborating and moving at the same time. At least 3 players. You will see some Finnish examples later on in this video, but you can see that there's a huge difference. If you have 5 or 3 players moving at the same time, as opposed only having 1 or 2 moving at the same time. But let's watch this clip again. So as we saw in the previous clip, Team Finland is using quite a lot these game opening styles where you have attackers without the ball filling into the direction of your own team's goal. That is okay way to defend with the ball from time to time in the field, but if you want to actually progress into the offensive zone and provides goal scoring threat from your game opening phase, that is not the way to do it. Especially when the Team Sweden is defending player to player orientedly, so the person that's filling lower down the pitch is player marked in 1v1 situation. in this frozen picture we will see a very small detail on the steps direction of the player. And by the way, I am not critiquing any individual players or their actions in the field, because these are such young players, they are still learning how to play international games, but rather the tactical side of the team. But you will see, just before the player is receiving the pass, her movement direction and the steps are going to the direction of their own goal. So there is no movement advantage against the defending player that she is attacking against. In the next clip I am just about to contradict myself a little bit. The movement is not actually going towards the own end of the field, but rather look at the player about the readiness and the speed movement advantage in that 1v1 situation. They are getting the ball to the wide side pocket in a static motion. So they need to receive the pass and then win the 1v1 situation. Like, they cannot win the 1v1 situation just by getting the pass to them, which would be optimal way to operate in such situation.
Parviainen oikealta laidalta lähtee nousuun. Hyvä, puhdas riisto Dybner.
And this was my previous point exactly. Even though the Swedish team only played the ball to a statically moving player to the wide side pocket, the player was high enough on the field, so they were above the first line of pressure, and thus they had plenty of space around them. And this was the biggest difficulty throughout the game. I bet that everybody in the whole arena knew that the Swedish team is going to press hard. They start doing it from player marking oriented perspective, and they push the high press from almost every moment that they smell blood and counter press after losing the ball. But the intentions of the Finnish team are little unclear to me. What are the routes that you're trying to get away from the pressure? Who are the players that provide the most vital support in the moment? And what options the player should always have when the pressure hits? The most repeated option for them was to play the ball behind their own goal and receive the ball to the opposite side corner. But if that is the only way how to break a press in games like this, the opposition will adapt and be able to take the ball away from you. So you need to have many options on that, and Finland needs to tank and fill up the tool bank for ways how to get away from the pressure, whatever they are. But there needs to be more clarity and more options how to come out of the pressure. Here the Swedish left side defender makes an awesome full speed run to support the press opening and is able to score from that. But following these long runs will be very important for the wingers and their workload as well. Here we will see an awesome talent, Miisa Turunen, challenging her blade open from the corner, and by doing so she will open route for herself to challenge and cut inside the formation, but also to pass to the front of the net and to the center of the pitch. But there is no one there. There is nobody moving into that direction, or if there are somebody moving in there, they have too much of delay. So you need to be faster on filling those spaces and providing the support for these awesome wingers that can feed you the ball to the goal scoring areas. And then opening up those player marking oriented forechecks. Sweden will forecheck in this low block that they have from time to time, and they will follow the players wherever they move. So picking up this sort of way to open up the player marking, where you only do these vertical runs and rotations and shift your positions in this way, this is not the way to do it, because every player will be marked. You will need to do these movements vertically from time to time, but then you will still need to be able to find those players that are running with long sprints towards the Swedish end and find those players when they are freeing themselves without the ball. Yet again, it looks to me that the defenders know better what they're supposed to do in their playing system. But for the wingers, this is not, yet again, for the individual players, but the instructions for the team. What are they supposed to do in that low forecheck? When the opponent is playing the ball to the wide side pocket, what is that side forward supposed to do there? Are they supposed to go pumping again, because Finland uses that pumping forecheck pretty much all the time, or are they supposed to come driving them to the outside flanks? What are they supposed to do? That intention and purpose needs to be clearer, and the actions need to be faster. The defensive actions are not as fast as the offensive actions of the Swedish team. We saw in the previous clip, Swedish player has the ball in the end board side and is driving towards the net and winning the 1-versus-1 situation. What was the difficulty and issue here was what this player responsible for marking the net was doing in that moment, because they are playing it player to player orientedly. So the player is doing that perfectly fine to their own tactic, but why the tactic is letting Team Sweden to win that space to the net that freely? Because if you are playing those attackers without the ball, that movement, by the way, of the attacker without the ball was moving into very narrow scoring angles. Should those attack or defenders without the ball be focusing more on closing out the core, most optimal scoring areas?
Saa pallon sääntöjen mukaisesti itselleen Turunen. Siirtää vielä vasemmalle Holopainen, toimittaa maalille ennen jatkopelejä. Holopainen vääntää siellä Dominikusen kanssa. Saa pallon sääntöjen mukaisesti itselleen Turunen.
Finland was able to react to the lack of support in the goal-scoring areas to the third period, but the deficit was too much between the teams at that moment. But they had better positioning in front of the net and in the center. They need to start doing that right away from the first whistle in the next games. This was a beautiful and very simple way to open up the game and get the ball to the wide side pocket for a player that's moving towards the opposing end. But then the lack of continuity, what are the other players around the wide side pocket doing, and where do you want to get the continuity to that player in the wide side pocket? And as we mentioned earlier, Swedish players 3 to 5 were moving at the same time. Here with Finland, only 1 or 2 at the same time. So get more players connecting with each other and helping each other. That was a beautiful play. A pass to the wide side pocket into forward motion, and then the intention to get the ball to the best goal scoring areas. But yet again, those small details, those small delays on those supporting movements when attacking without the ball. If you can get those delays out, you will score from these. And then to the last bit of this video, what needs to change in their team play, and not to only provide some criticism. I'm going to offer some recommendations how the team can change their play. First, breaking the high press. Obviously, you need more options in addition to passing behind the goal. Perhaps moving the ball to the central line and then passing it to the opposite side direction, or passing right away to the diagonal direction for an opposite side defender that runs into that space, whatever, but you need more alternatives. Then, about the threat when you are attacking, even if it is a direct attack or an offensive zone, offensive play, it doesn't matter. Get your players to the goal scoring areas. One to the net or to the back post, and one to the biggest goal scoring area right in the center middle of that defensive zone of theirs. And try to get as much of goal pressure right over there, because if you only shoot the ball from the outside flanks and there is no one getting those rebound balls in the goal scoring areas, there is not that much goal scoring pressure. Then to the high pressing side, if the team wants to utilize the high pressing, that needs to be more cohesive and doing that as a unit, because there was lack of support and delay from the third player coming and joining to the press, so they need to join, providing support on that press way faster in order to make the Swedish or whatever Czech team that they're facing next harder for them to get out from the pressure. And no matter if it is Swedish or Czech Republic team, their defenders are very skillful. So you need to think about when you are playing 1v1 and when you are playing a double team into the right positions in the field. And like I said earlier, in the game opening phase, utilizing these rotations where your players are moving in the vertical direction towards your own end. Finland is doing these with a quite big amount and quantity, so you need to decrease the number of those and add into those movements that are going into the direction of the opposing team's end. Finding players that are moving forward. It's as simple as that. So you can think about it in a way that you still need those movements that are coming to your own end to keep the ball and maintain control of the ball. But it is like cooking up a good soup. You need to have enough salt and pepper. If the salt is those movements coming to your own end, and pepper is getting those movements into the direction of the opposing team's end. You need to have a good balance of those, and now the balance is off. So fix the balance. And then lastly, about the defensive zone defending, and especially defending against those drives that are coming from your own endboard side and going to the direction of your own net. If you are playing a player against player kind of defensive orientation, if your player defending the endboard is able to win those 1v1s more than lose, that is a good solution. But if the players are losing more than they are winning those 1v1s in the endboard, I would highly recommend on considering to mix a bit more influences from zonal marking, that the player that wins the 1v1 doesn't end up into totally free scoring lanes, lie right into the best scoring chances. So maybe a little bit more zonal approach could be applied here. And hey guys, that was it for today's video. If you liked the content, please click the like button down below, share this video to your mates, and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. And I hope that even if you were a player or a coach, you were able to get something new into your floorballing world from this video. Have a nice weekend. Bye.